Clemens, so let's do a roll call and start this meeting of, wonder how that happened. Oh, well.
I hate it when people say that.
Yeah, well, somehow I was on an agenda for July 2nd. Not so good.
If you can't do it right, do it again.
That's it. Okay, so let's call this meeting to order for August 20th, 2020. That would be 8/20/2020. Wow.
A 2020.
Yeah. And it is 7:30, more or less. So roll call, please.
Okay. Director Boyd.
You're muted, Scott.
Here.
Director Decker.
Here.
Director Harvey.
Here.
Director Lohman.
Here.
Director Slater-Carter.
Present. President's statement. I'm going to suggest that it's very important that MWSD put a link to the county transportation survey for transportation needs for the community. So people who are watching this can go and fill out the county questionnaire. There are groups suggesting that their special interest members fill it out. And I think it's very important that everyone possible fill out this questionnaire so the county gets as complete a recording as possible. I was going through some old papers, and I think this transportation project started 7 years ago, something like that. And the community has worked very hard on it, but now it's crunch time, and it's time for everybody who can to fill it out and put down their preferences.
Catherine, is this also called Connect the Coast, or is that the same one?
It is Connect the Coast, yes. Okay. Thank you. So I think it's very important that, and I also think, frankly, I would suggest that visitors who are coming fill this out if you know anybody who comes on a routine basis, because they also get stuck in this horrendous traffic. And so it is an important thing, and there is a deadline on it, which I seem to have forgotten, nothing unusual. So get it done next week. That's the easiest. Just while you're thinking about it, go to MWSD or MCC, push on the link and fill it out. It's not going to take long, but it's very important that you be heard, because later when you say, nobody asked me, I can tell you the Mid-Coast Council has been doing a lot of this. Now MWSD is, and hopefully everyone else will. I will certainly be making this announcement Monday at SAM. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to, oh, sewing machine. To the oral comments. These are for items other than on the agenda. Greg, do you have one? An oral comment? Harold, do you have an oral comment?
Greg's hand is up.
Greg's hand is up. Oh, okay. I just found that button. Greg, why don't we call on you then?
Thanks. I'm having internet connection problems. I'm getting extreme choppiness on both the video and audio, so I may not last through this meeting, but I wanted to bring several issues which I think are going to heighten the importance of sharpening your pencils on the connection fees for Big Wave. And I'll skip the details and let you read it in the article. But there are already issues with Big Wave at GCSD being discussed tonight. And I think it's something you really need to be ready for. I can't remember the last time the water connection fees were updated and what they were based on.
Definitely breaking up.
Yeah, and you put yourself on mute. I'm assuming you intended to. I will just respond and say.
I put myself on mute after I finished what I was saying and put myself
Okay.
on mute. If there were chat, I would type it into chat, but there's no chat.
Right. Well, I think what this is showing us is that MWSD needs to become a computer, an ISP for locals, so that we can have little antennas on various houses and have good internet for the communities of Montara and Moss Beach. But we'll take a vote on that later. Thank you. Harold, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. So can you hear me?
We can hear you and you're very clear.
So I have two questions. One is regarding the water reserve. We have the Montara Water Sanitary District. So I understand we don't have a lot of water in reserve. So that's a growing concern as we're looking at the wildfires right now and they're coming close. So are there plans to expand water reserve, especially as we're looking at the two large developments in Moss Beach? And then the follow-up question is, who's paying for that? And my second question is, you basically decided to add a water reliability charge to every single-family home. And my question is, how is that calculated for the new developments where we have the situation of multiplexes or a large commercial, and how is that working for Pillar Ridge as well? Thank you.
Clemens, if you could answer those just very, very briefly, and if we need more detail, I would suggest we make those an agenda item for our next meeting.
Sure. We could also have Harold contract after Clemens gives us kind of a summary. He can contact him directly during the day, because that was like hours of discussion at a prior meeting. So
right.
Sure. You know, so if it's somewhere documented, I'm happy to read it. But I know that neighbors and residents are concerned about water reserve, and they're concerned about the water reliability charge and how that applies to the new large-scale developments.
Okay. So I'm just going to say, when it comes to the water reserves, we have plenty of water reserves. We're in very good shape. So I would say that you're misinformed on that end. There is no concern. However, when it comes to fires, of course, any public water system is not designed to fight wildfires. That's what we deal with right now here. So fire storage is calculated for house fires. No public agency is capable of fighting a wildfire. That's what CAL FIRE is for in California. Our connection. So the connection charge is really what is essentially taking care of what you would call some sort of a buy-in for new development. The water system reliability charge is a charge that is levied to everyone at the same amount, similar amount, depending on the size of the meter. So the larger the size of the meter, and the more one has to pay. So just briefly, you know, the buy-in is with the connection fees. I heard previously, when was our latest connection charge report done? That was done very recently. This was all considered, all looked up, and this is all available on our website, Harold. So that was, I believe, in 2017, we went through connection charge, through the connection report.
Yeah, and the water reliability, how is that calculated? Because is there a difference when you have, let's say, a condo that's occupied by a family versus you have a single family home that might be just occupied by one person? And how is that working as a water?
Again, the size of the meter depends on the number of units. So the more number of units are fed by one meter, the larger it is. So that takes essentially care of that aspect of multi-family homes. Again, it's all on the website, and just give me a call and we can talk about it anytime.
Okay, the first question that I had, so I understand. I mean, there's a difference between the water we have in the mountain and then the water we have in the tank. So if they have a fire, and I understand that we have 240,000 gallons reserved for fighting fires, which doesn't seem to be a lot when I compare that to the 4 million that we have in the neighboring district, which is larger, but our number seems to be very small. So the concern I think that neighbors have is, as we are adding these large developments to the system, does our water tank storage need to be expanded to have more water when we need it for fires?
Now, we have over 1 million gallon that is available for firefighting. The number you refer to is essentially the number that is subtracted from any demand and in excess. But in any firefighting situation, the fire department is going to use the full amount. So we have over 1 million gallons in storage available anytime. Again, we're not, nobody will design a water system to fight fires. And once again, call me tomorrow or any day to discuss, please.
Just to emphasize, not to fight wildfires. Domestic fires, right. Definitely designed for domestic fires, but not designed for wildfires. And I've watched CDF helicopters and aircraft, and they're working with water that they get from other sources. And I've watched helicopters take water out of stock ponds, and right now they're pulling water out of the ocean to fight fires down around Big Basin. So we have lots of that water if they need it. It's and that's how. And for the wildfires, where they're fighting the fires is often way up in the trees or in the scrub, and there's not going to be any pipes up there anyway. So that the two different categories of firefighting.
Okay. And I would also add that all of our system, which has been largely rebuilt since we acquired it in 2003, has been done according to the usual standard accepted water industry practices. There are many reasons why you don't want to have too much water in storage, and there are reasons why it's very much a balancing act. So when we have our engineering done, it is always done with the best practices at the time when we're having it done. And we are constantly keeping an eye on that as well. So that's ours are different than the district to the north and the south because we have a different population, and we have different, but our firefighting needs are, with rare exception, for single family homes. Both Pacifica and Half Moon Bay have large hotels. They have large office buildings and other commercial needs that increase their needs from this by the standard regulations. So yes, please come and talk to Clemens. I think you'd find it very useful. Thank you. Okay, moving right along to the consent agenda. My screen keeps going out. I should have printed it. Oh well. There is no public hearing, and so we are at the consent agenda, which is to approve the minutes for regularly scheduled meetings for July 2nd and July 16, 2020. Approve financial statements for June 2020, approve warrants for August 1, 2020. SAM flow report for June 2020, monthly review of current investment portfolio, connection permit applications received, monthly water production report, rain report, monthly solar energy report, and monthly public agency retirement service report for May 2020. Do we have a motion?
Move to accept.
Second?
I second it.
Thank you, Peter and Rick. All the discussion on any items? All those in favor, say aye.
Let's do roll call, I think.
Oh, roll call. Yeah, I slipped backwards.
Zoom
roll
call.
call, please. Yep. A Zoom
call.
A Zoom call, yes. So please do a roll call.
Director Boyd,
Aye.
Director Decker,
Aye.
Director Harvey,
Aye.
Director Lohman,
I'm a yes.
and Director Slater Carter.
Yes, yes. We have no old business. Figure that.
You're slipping.
New business, review and possible action concerning appropriations limit.
Thanks, Catherine. A standard item that we have to do every year. What this really describes is, it gives us a limit to the amount that we can spend on tax proceeds that we can spend in this coming fiscal year. We are always, that limit is always way more than what we actually get in property taxes. So we essentially show that we can spend the amount of property taxes that we're receiving. The prior fiscal year's appropriation limit was around $2.4 million. We're now at $2.478 million. And that is $1.51 million below the GAN limit. So that's essentially the span that we have. We get around $400,000 to $600,000 in property tax proceeds. All this needs to be manifested through the adoption of a resolution. That's the resolution determining the 2021 appropriations limit. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is for information only? There's no...
No, there's we asked to adopt a resolution.
Okay.
Determining the 2021 appropriations limit.
So, who would like to make a motion to adopt it?
I move the adoption of the resolution next in order as read.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Discussion, roll call vote, please.
Director Boyd,
Aye.
Director Decker,
Aye.
Director Harvey,
Aye.
Director Lohman,
Yes.
Director Slater Carter.
Yes. The next item is a fun one. We can thank Clemens for making this a regular part of our employee plan, and I think it's highly commended. It is review and possible action concerning the employee wellness plan.
Thanks, Catherine. So since I think 3-4 years, we have this program where the district contributes $25 monthly towards some health or fitness expenditure of the choice of the employee, really. And that's, we get proper documentation. There is proof that they, participated in something that benefits them. And we essentially then transfer the $25 per month into their account. All this started because we started getting a wellness grant. That's from the Association of California Water Agency, Joint Powers Insurance Agency. So this year we also received, again, $272 that essentially can go towards any expenditure, similar expenditure. So can essentially go towards the program as well. I think what I can say is I think this is an item that is just so much more important now in this pandemic than it was before. And it is going to be so much more difficult for us to encourage employees to actually do something that benefits them, take care of them. It's now so much more difficult simply because there is no gyms available. You can't really just go and attend something. But the way this grant is written and the way we've structured this allows for, I think, enough flexibility that hopefully we can encourage employees to take part in this program. Every year we have, so if the district authorizes the full amount, there would be a potential cost to the district of $2,120 for the entire year. Again, our job is to find ways to encourage our employees to participate in this. And we see this because past years we had, this year, I think we spent around $600, roughly $600 out of this pot instead of the $2,120. So I think we have to do a little work on encouraging our employees, but I think it's just so much more important right now. Thank you. So the recommendation is essentially to authorize up to $2,120 of district funds for contributions to Montara Water Sanitary District full-time employees' participation in wellness activities of $25 per month per employee after proof of payment by the employee.
I noticed to my surprise that the purchase of masks is included as well.
Yes.
Qualifies as a wellness activity.
I guess it's taking care of yourself in some fashion. Yeah. Yes. Yes. But the districts, of course, are, the employees also receive district-issued face masks.
Right.
Good. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Jim. And the second? Second, thank you, Peter. A roll call vote, please.
Director Boyd?
Aye.
Director Decker?
Aye.
Director Harvey?
Aye.
Director Lohman?
Yes.
Director Slater-Carter?
Yes. Good. Moving on to the last new business item. Uncontested Montara Water and Sanitary District election for November 3rd, 2020.
Yeah, so this is now an information item, and this is really for the public mainly. I think everybody on this board is aware that the presidential election, November 3, 2020, is also an election where open seats for Montara Water and Sanitary District are decided about. This year, the election is uncontested. That means that Director Slater-Carter and Director Boyd will serve an additional 4-year term. We're hoping all for that. And that's essentially to December 2024, really. Director Decker was appointed to a vacant seat that was for the 2018-22 term. He's expected to complete the term to December 2022, so another 2 years. And yeah, congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we will continue on with all of the great programs. And of course, we have fabulous staff and consultants. So the district will continue to be in very good health.
With the saved election expenses, can we expect more cookies from the candidates?
Yeah, I think so.
I'll have to go into the kitchen to get the ones that I eat in front of you during closed session, but sure, yeah, we can manage that. I think, I don't want to put words in everybody's mouth, but I'll just say it's an honor to have the opportunity to serve. And as we confront some really challenging things, I'm very glad to be part of this team.
So am I.
Yes. Yes, I think we have, like I say, we've got a great team of board members, staff, consultants, and public. And I always appreciate it when people like Herman hear things and they actually come and get the information instead of finding somebody else's internet posting, which may or may not be accurate. If you ever have any questions, please come to the district or to a board member, because we're more than happy to talk for as long as you can stand it. Thank you. Moving on to reports. Sewer Authority Mid-Coast side meetings. The biggest issue recently has been Connect the Coast. I'll just make this a brief report and say go to the Mid-Coast Community Council website and sign in to the Connect the Coast and fill out the form. Thank you. There are seats available. There are 3 spots available and 4 candidates available for Mid-Coast Community Council. Please read the candidate statements in your ballot summary, and there will be a Mid-Coast Community Council, I'm sure via Zoom, question and answer for the candidates. So please pay attention. It's very important to have good feedback given to the Board of Supervisors about what's going on here. Thank you. Sewer Authority Mid-Coast, that's me and Rick. Rick?
The last meeting was canceled, so.
I will say we had a Finance Committee meeting today, and we were discussing an agreement with Amoresco. It's going to be on the agenda for Monday. The Finance Committee made no recommendations. And so it will be discussed at length on as an information item on Monday, not as a vote. And so I will say it is a method of getting a lot of very expensive work done quickly and then paying it over 20 years, which is going to be useful for the district and the ratepayers. And also will keep, if any of these pieces of equipment breaks, they are critical pieces of equipment. We could end up with large fines. So it's important to get these fixed now.
Also at that meeting is the wet weather project final vote. So if you want to tune in for an exciting meeting, that should be a good meeting. It's been stalled for months and months.
I am hoping that it can happen. Our general manager lives here and is part of our community. GCSD, their general managers in the South Coast, and Half Moon Bay's Public Works Director just had his home evacuated in one of the fires. And I'm hoping he can be there and that Half Moon Bay can be ready to make a decision on Monday. Clemens, maybe you could follow up on that with Keishan, because it's could be problematic.
Yes, the vote has to occur because the quotes expire at the end of the month, and there will be no more meetings before the end of the month. So this is the final vote. Final vote.
Last chance. CSDA report?
Yes, we actually had a meeting via Zoom. This was kind of an interesting meeting. We actually had a slightly better attendance from the special districts. There were about 25 more or less in the county, and 13 or 14 were there, including Sacramento. It was mostly just everybody getting together and talking about stuff, but I was pushing. There's always comments about LAFCO and LAFCO expenses and things like that. And based on the moves that LAFCO does to consolidate everything all the time, we kind of started asking the questions, well, why do they do that? And we sort of launching a program with Josh, the president, and I was pushing this, is to start talking to LAFCO. When cities do get their municipal service reviews, it's just, here's another review, here's your population count, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. But special districts reviews are always, can we wipe you off the face of the map? So we all decided, we fought off probably 5 or 6 consolidations in the last 5 or 6 years, or eliminations.
That's throughout San Mateo County.
All through the county. The healthcare districts, the mosquito districts, the harbor districts, Broadmoor Police Department. and us locally. So we want to start a conversation with LAFCO, statewide and everything else, is why is your mission to erase the service districts? We are often the most financially stable, zero loans, zero everything's. So, report on what we're doing, but don't try to get rid of us. So that's a new thought for the future. Also, our elections are up, and I'm running again for the LAFCO rep. So
I heard there was just a municipal service review for the
RCD.
RCD is in progress.
Would you find it useful for Montara to make a comment of support for RCD?
I think we've been sent the MSR. If people want to review it, I don't think it's always good. It was the complaints we've gotten from a little bit from RCD and stuff. It's, you pointed out 5 or 6 things that aren't transparent enough on our website, and that's nice, but you didn't talk about the 15 different things we've done with no grants, blah, blah, blah. So I think if we want to, or individuals submit letters saying, here's the 10 good things RCD has done on the coast in the last 5 or 6 years. Those are all good things. And it wasn't like, trying to dissolve them or anything. It's just, again, our thing, why not report on all the good stuff too, and not just, you didn't put enough financials on your website, which is important, but let's give it a broad brush and say all the good stuff. And the fact, especially, they're grant driven. That's it. All the stuff they do is from grants, and we're all involved in the First Flush program on the coast that examines all the creeks and everything else, which is super valuable stuff for us. So if individuals, I don't know if we as a group want to do it as Montara, but if you want to submit a letter, it's always good. And we lost Catherine.
No, I'm still listening, but
I'll try to give more stimulating speeches next time, I guess.
No, my dog was chiming in with you and saying, everyone, please write a letter of support. RCD has done an awful lot to improve the environment and the ability for people to farm here. Mm-hmm. And they work very hard on what they do. And I think in thinking about it, one of the people I recently talked to was saying, we can't handle any more property taxes. We can't handle any more fees. RCD gets this stuff done for our communities without charging all the residents.
Yep.
And so I'm frightened to think that LAFCO's primary job is to help increase taxes and fees for people on the coast side and the state as a whole. And that's not so good. Yeah. Not so good. Anyway, so that was CSDA, and now we've got
LAFCO.
LAFCO. Go
ahead.
I was going to say we just discussed LAFCO.
No, we didn't discuss LAFCO. We discussed the special districts. The LAFCO part, specifically, again, the meeting wasn't that long, and there were a couple annexes in the around Redwood City. There's all kinds of strange projects that are going in that are outside the city, they're inside the city, they're out of a district, they're in a district. It was just a couple houses that were excluded that have been included for water or sewer. But the interesting thing that I mentioned last time, and this is for California Senate Bill 414, this is the one I mentioned last time that gives some state water board the power to consolidate water districts and takes the power away from LAFCO, which is LAFCO's prime mission. LAFCO has both the county, the state, and us have all submitted letters against this bill. But you know, it was sort of aimed for the Central Valley, where you've got districts that got 10 people on a well, that sort of stuff. But the bill says very specifically this could include districts that have less than 3,000 service connections or less than 10,000 residents. We certainly have less than 10,000 residents, I would presume. So
and less than 3,000 connections.
So technically, you know, if you want to throw technically out there, this is not a good bill, and we have already submitted our San Mateo LAFCO's already submitted a letter also against it, along with the whole state LAFCO.
Do we have any idea who's sponsoring this? And who
I'd have to look up SB 414. I didn't get the name. It should be online. It should be easy to find.
Do you know if CSDA is doing any lobbying on this? And maybe we should send a copy of both the LAFCO letter and the our letter and any individual letters to our elected representatives who are going to be voting on this.
Yeah, CSDA, the Sacramento rep or our rep was at our meeting last week, 2 weeks ago. I'm in contact with her, and I can specifically ask her that. If CSDA is going to do anything, that makes sense too.
It makes a lot of sense. As much as CSDA is at odds with LAFCO, having things slide through the legislature without any local notice or agendas is reprehensible. Okay, it's not local government.
I'll do that too.
Thank you. Okay, attorney's report, I think we're at. Yes.
No attorney's report.
Okay, director's reports. I see no hands waving wildly.
Everybody stay safe and keep your properties clean.
Yeah, and general manager's report. That's attached.
It is attached, and I just wanted to ensure that everybody sees actually the final protest Prop 218 count. It took us some time, meetings, scheduling, etc., kind of interfered with publishing this. As we announced at the hearing, the public hearing on June 4, we received a total of 392 protest votes. Of those, 126 protests were found to be invalid. And what does that mean? That means they're protests that are submitted for properties that are outside the district. There are duplicate protest votes and protests submitted by residents that do not receive the relevant service, for example. So these are simple things that disqualify them. So it comes out to, we acknowledged receiving 392. 266 protest votes of those were actually valid protests. Just want to make sure that everybody gets this information and understands it.
Thank you. And we needed 900 and some votes for the protest to be valid.
Just short of 1,000, yeah, around 980.
Okay. I want to thank the folks who submitted the petitions and gathered the signatures and helped keep us top of mind with a whole lot of people in the community. Sometimes people forget where our water and what they flush goes. So it's very important, kind of like the political conventions right now, where they remind people of the other parties involved, and it's not just one. I am quite pleased with this. Thank you very much for those numbers, Clemens.
Yeah, I'd also like to, just real quick, thank everybody. That was one of our most interesting community meetings. I think it ran till 12:30. Was that the right answer? It was
something like that.
It was, and we also got praise from other organizations for running such a good Zoom meeting. And other people took us as an example for that. People said, well, we can't do a Zoom. And we did it for a whole community and it worked out pretty well. So.
And just think, it gave us practice. So if we want to have a strategic plan meeting or some way to invite many, many people in the community, we know we can do it, and we know we can do it well. So thanks to everyone. Let's go into recess and then go into closed session. So we'll take a few minutes. It's 8:13 by my clock, so 5 minutes or less, depending on who shows up when. So thank you, PCTV, for keeping us broadcast. I think in these times of COVID, it's even more important for people to be able to see what local government is doing for a local community. Thank you. Bye, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
I